If you took the many things that make Mexico great and squeezed them into one place, you'd have Puebla. This mid-sized city in central Mexico has incredible food, gorgeous colonial architecture, an abundance of culture, friendly people, and even a claim to the world's smallest volcano. There are many things to do in Puebla to keep you busy. Sure, there's no beach in Puebla, but for a safe, easily navigable city only a few hours from Mexico City, Puebla can't be beat. Its location on the Central Mexican Plateau means it has a pleasant year-round climate, and it's surrounded by stunning natural scenery like towering volcanoes covered in dense pine forest. So, here is the list of 10 best things to do in Puebla, Mexico. Before we start, make sure you subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for the latest upcoming travel videos. Here we go. Number 1. Zocalo de Puebla. The first thing to do when you arrive in Puebla is to visit the heart and soul of the city, the Zocalo, public square. This is the cultural and historic center of the city. A street in the Zocalo in Puebla. After traveling in Mexico for 6 months, I think Puebla has one of the most festive and beautiful Zocalos in the country. Its lively atmosphere is due to how small and compact the park is, as well as how the diners from the restaurants and cafes spill out onto the sidewalks. As you walk down the street, you're surrounded by people eating, drinking, and having a good time. The architecture, like in all of Puebla, is also stunningly beautiful. Spend some time here in the evening. Because there are so many people out and about, it feels 100% safe. Number 2. Puebla Cathedral. The most unmissable thing to do in Puebla is to visit the Basilica Cathedral of Puebla, or the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception, or just Puebla Cathedral. Located right in the heart of the city, this massive cathedral is the most famous landmark in Puebla and a most visited attraction. Puebla Cathedral is a stunning example of Mexican Baroque architecture built between the 16th to 17th centuries. It is huge and has numerous chapels adorned with sculptures and paintings that tell stories of faith and religion. The cathedral is located on the southern edge of the Zocalo and pretty much fills it up. Number 3. Biblioteca Palafoxiana. The Palafoxiana Library is a treasure for book lovers and history buffs alike. It's the first public library on the American continent, and it has a collection of 43,000 volumes, ranging from the 15th to the 20th century, covering various topics such as history, philosophy, theology, and literature. This library is located on the second floor of the Casa de Cultura de Puebla, in a beautiful vaulted room. It was founded in the 17th century by Bishop Juan de Palafox y Mendoza, who donated his personal library of 5,000 volumes to the schools of San Pedro and San Juan. He also made a very progressive decision for that time. He allowed anyone who could read to access his books. The library became a museum in 1981, and today it is one of the most popular tourist attractions in Puebla. Number 4. Museo Amparo. Up there with Mexico's most prestigious museums, the Museo Amparo chronicles the history of Mexico from 2500 BC to today. The museum is in 2 colonial complexes with a modern annex, an apt setting for a journey through the nation's past. Many of the artifacts were curated throughout the 20th century by the entrepreneur Manuel Espinosa Iglesias. The pre-Hispanic collections are vast and have steels, ceramics, everyday utensils, sculptures, and altars from a host of civilizations, including the Mayans, Olmecs, Aztecs, and Mixtecs, but also the Totonacs, Teotihuacans, Huastecs, and Zapotecs. The displays offer some extra context by pointing out what was happening in the rest of the world while these cultures were flourishing. They are also presented by theme, and not culture, so if you're curious about pre-Columbian history, you'll come away with a complete picture. Number 5. Visit Capilla del Rosario. Of all the things that I did in Puebla City, a visit to Capilla del Rosario, the chapel attached to the Santo Domingo Church, was a highlight. I had never seen anything so beautiful in my life. The chapel is a stunning example of Mexican Baroque architecture with a breathtaking interior. Each and every corner of the chapel is covered in golden leaf, and the detailing in the sculptures is mind-blowing. Unfortunately, taking pictures inside the chapel is not allowed, but you can look at some pictures on the official website here. The front facade of the church, Baroque wall and gray, is quite plain when compared with the inside. But the red and white side walls add a zing of color to the church, thus making it the perfect photo op. Number 6. Alley of the Frogs. One of the most charming streets in Puebla's historic district is Alley of the Frogs, or Callejón de los Sapos. It is a colorful and quaint street with shops, cafes, pots filled with flowers, and hanging lights decorating a photographic passageway. During colonial times, this small street tended to flood, leading to stagnant water and well frogs. As the main resident of the street, the name Alley of the Frogs was born. One of the last reminders of frogs living here is the frog spouting water out of the fountain in the square in the center of the alley. Lining the square you can find antique shops, art, outdoor cafes, and restaurants. On the weekends you can find live music playing and markets to browse. Number 7. Africam Safari. Africam Safari is a safari park on the outskirts of Puebla City. Opened to the public in 1972, it was initially the private animal farm of Captain Carlos Camacho Espiritu, a famous Mexican businessman. It was named after a combination of his surname and Africa, where most of the animals originally came from. Today, the safari park boasts a variety of different ecosystems and natural habitats where the animals can roam freely. About 2,500 animals of 350 different species call the park home, including giraffes, Asian water buffalo, African elephants, white rhinoceros, American black bear, and Nubian ibex, to name just a few. Don't miss the Adventure Zone, a car-free area where visitors can explore a butterfly park, a herpetarium, an insectarium, a botanical garden, as well as kangaroo and bat exhibits. Number 8. Parian Market. The San Roque Square northeast of the Zocalo dates to 1805 and in 1961 was turned into a permanent arts and crafts market. More than just a place to do some souvenir shopping, the Parian Market is somewhere to get in touch with Puebla's traditional know-how. There are dozens of stalls selling Talavera pottery, and Puebla is one of only 5 places in Mexico, 4 of which are in the state of Puebla, where these ceramics can be produced authentically. So if you buy something, you'll be taking a piece of Puebla home with you. Among the other crafts sold at the Parian Market are leather goods, textiles, candles, pewter, copperwork, and puppets. Follow up with a visit to the adjoining Barrio del Artista, Artist Quarter, which has galleries, art shops, and cafes. Number 9. Zona Arqueológica de Cantona. The Cantona ruins are a Mesoamerican archaeological site located around an hour's drive from Puebla, Mexico. While excavations have begun, it's believed that less than 10% of the original ancient city can be seen today, from cobblestone causeways, patios, and private residences to ball courts, temples, and an acropolis. During its heyday, Cantona was a walled city on a prominent trading route between the Gulf Coast and the Central Highlands. Spread across 3 separate sections, it was considered one of the largest and most modern cities in pre-Hispanic times during its prime. The town was at its busiest between 600 and 1000 CE. It was then abandoned after 1050 AD. Cantona highlights include the Earth Fertility Plaza and the on-site museum. Number 10. International Museum of the Baroque. This new museum is all about the Baroque, the style of art, architecture, and music that defined much of the 17th and 18th centuries in Europe and the New World. The museum building was designed by Pritzker Prize winner, Toyo Ito, taking inspiration from Baroque notions of movement, the contrast of light and shade, chiaroscuro, and the relationship between man and nature. Don't expect stacks of Baroque art and artifacts, as the museum is more conceptual, exploring the religious origins, Counter-Reformation, philosophy, and driving forces behind the Baroque movement. There are studies of Baroque wonders like St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, Bavaria's Ottoboron Abbey, and Puebla's own Capilla del Rosario. Also interesting is the model of Puebla as it would have looked in its Baroque heyday in 1754. Number 11. Loreto Fort Museum. The 18th century Fuertes de Loreto, Fort Loreto, is a historical military landmark and fortress in Puebla City. Initially built as a religious shrine in the 1600s, it was fortified 2 centuries later when it served as the site of one of the most famous battles in Mexican history, one that's now marked with the annual Cinco de Mayo. Visitors can brush up on their knowledge of the notorious Battle of Puebla in the Museum of Non-Intervention. Exhibits include letters, documents, and paintings of the infamous battle, as well as old military uniforms and weapons. There's also an exhibit on Benito Juárez, the first Mexican president. While you're here, visit the surrounding Centro Cívico Cinco de Mayo Park with its soccer stadium, planetarium, playing fields, and Museo Imagina. Number 12. Historic Zone of the Forts. Zona Histórica de los Fuertes is a sprawling park district located on top of a QI Metepec Hill, about 1.4 miles, 2.3 kilometers north of the Zocalo, main square. It's a lovely area that's home to centuries-old forts and several museums. Fuertes de Loreto y Guadalupe, Loreto and Guadalupe forts, are the 2 most well-known historical attractions and museums at the park. Both are former churches that were converted into military forts to help defend the city against the French during the Battle of Puebla in 1862. Fuertes de Loreto y Guadalupe are the most popular, but Zona Histórica is known for other museums and attractions as well. You can also visit Museo de la Evolución, Museum of Evolution, Museo Interactivo de la Batalla del 5 de Mayo, Interactive Museum of the Battle of May 5th, and the Regional Museum of Puebla. You can learn more about these museums and others in our guide to the best museums in Puebla. Zona Histórica is also home to Planetario Puebla, planetarium, several miradors, viewpoints, a large expo center, and Teleférico Puebla, a cable car ride that gives you terrific bird's-eye views of Puebla City and the surrounding Iztaccíhuatl and Popocatépetl volcanoes. The last word. So, guys, this was the best list of things to do in Puebla, Mexico. Hope you will like it and appreciate it. People who come to this city are amazed by all of the awesome things there are to do and see. Thanks to its proximity to Mexico City, many people visit Puebla on a day trip from the capital. Visiting Puebla City on a day trip will give you enough time to experience its highlights, but this underrated city and state in central Mexico deserves more than a day to really do it justice. We lived in Puebla for a time and had gotten to know the city quite well. If you're planning a trip to central Mexico, then here are 20 of the most fun things you can do in Puebla. So, if you love to travel and you want to see the whole world, then Tripoyer is the channel that gives you a list of the best places to visit in the USA. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and press the bell icons for latest upcoming travel videos. Bye bye, see you.